It's a desperate cry.
No, I'm not going crazy!
When you're feeling all alone,
Can you hear that?
only you to hold your own.
Silence is pounding on my ears.
A cry no one seems to hear.
Everyone is around me talking.
So stop,
I feel alone.
don't beat up yourself.
There is only one escape.
Death comes to me slowly and takes me with him.
This is a play about a young girl's terrifying descent into suicide. And it's an act of bravery by the teenage girl who wrote and directed it.
My name is Hannah Brunson. I am 16 years old. I was diagnosed with depression and an anxiety disorder this year.
Brunsden was only 8 when the anxiety started to gnaw at her. Year after year, it became more crippling, her need to excel in school especially, overwhelming.
Ok, allons-y. Bonjour.
Oui,
Hannah. Elle a causé beaucoup de conflits.
Depression set in too, smothering her.
I didn't feel excited. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel angry. I was just sort of flat and just sort of withdrew from everything and just wanted to sleep all the time because I was so tired.
Slowly, Brunsden started to talk about it, to her family and especially to her classmates. It was a conversation that changed her life.
So I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety disorder, and this is what's going on with me. And then someone was like, oh my gosh, I'm going through the exact same thing as you. And then it was just like, immediately it was just like, I'm not alone.
1 in 5 young people in Canada is affected by mental illness. 3.2 million teenagers are at risk of developing depression. And perhaps most disturbing, teenagers are the least likely to seek help.
It's just like almost like the silence is deafening, obviously, and it's so deafening that it's like smothering people, clearly, because people are committing suicide or they're feeling isolated.
But something is changing.
A lot of tears to put it out.
Brunsden's message of openness is spreading, and schools are listening.
Don't hide away.
To break the silence and the stigma surrounding mental health, 16 schools in the Ottawa area, including this one, are trying something new. For the first time in Canada, mental health will be part of the formal curriculum. The goal? To make it as routine a subject as English or math.
It's been a long time since my ABC.
Now when you think of mental
I could write a whole book about the things I feel.
What is the best way to deal with stress? I like to do stress when I play guitar and I read books.
Red. What is something that makes you angry? Me, something that makes me angry is people that lie.
Sir.
At Bell High School, senior students use the colors in candy to identify how they're feeling.
I just kind of feel like if I get through it and stuff, it'll get better eventually.
Every color prompts a question.
What is something that makes you angry? Something that makes me angry is when other people talk bad things about friends behind their backs.
Oh, talk about it with people.
The new curriculum will be introduced in October.
The first thing we have to do is write our names where we feel stress anywhere in our body.
This class is a preview of sorts, a sketch of what the new lessons on mental health will look like.
Why don't they come forward if they're not feeling well or if they're depressed?
People tend to judge a lot. So if you have like depression or something that doesn't usually seem of the norms, people will think, let's say, you're weird, or they won't accept you, and that just discourages you even more.
And I think it's really difficult to come out with your stresses to other people because you're afraid to get judged. So I just think it's difficult because people just feel like they can do it themselves.
Mom, cat, birds, pets, dad.
What these students learn will be part of a research project, the first of its kind in Canada. What they know now about mental health, what they will know in 6 months' time, will be tracked carefully.
Talking to people, especially your best friend or family, they can help solve your problems as well.
Mental disorders are usually caused by the stresses of everyday life. Then the student would either choose true or false. They're all true or false questions.
Dr. Rob Millen is an expert of adolescent mental health at the Royal Ottawa Mental Health Centre. He's leading the study, and he wants it to be much more than an academic exercise.
Will they seek help? Will they recommend help to their friends who may be struggling with a problem? And so it's actually measuring, do you actually affect a change in people's behavior?
It will be a challenge, but hopes are high, because the impetus for the project comes from the very group that tends to be most afraid to speak about it: young people themselves. It started a few months ago, just after the suicide of 14-year-old Darren Richardson, daughter of Ottawa Senators assistant coach Luke Richardson. Her suicide made headlines.
It was just a shock in every single way.
Erin Sauvé was a good friend.
It was totally shocking and everything. Like, I couldn't think of anything other than her. It was it took me a couple weeks to get back and try to get back into a regular routine, but it's still not exactly back there yet.
So tell me again why you... Together with two other friends, Reed Murphy and Lisa Benvenuti, they created an awareness campaign, and they called it Do It for Darren.
When it happens to one of your close friends, it gets you because you should have talked about it, but you didn't because it wasn't something that you would just talk about openly.
What they started is remarkable. The Do It for Darren campaign immediately attracted tens of thousands of followers on social media sites.
I guess it kind of just hit us that people need a voice and they need to be heard and speak freely about what's on their mind.
We made the decision to speak publicly about suicide because we wanted to make a difference in other people's lives.
The campaign has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, along with a donation from the Richardson family. That's what got the new mental health curriculum into schools this year, and got a generation talking about a taboo subject.
Wow, those kids, they really owned this. And I'm inspired by their bravery. I think they're going to try and have you back. And
the day we meet her, Stephanie Richardson is at her home near Ottawa with a group of women organizing the latest event in her daughter's name.
We support DIF.
It's a distraction from the questions that still torment her. The last day of her daughter's life seems so happy, so ordinary.
We went for haircuts that morning. And we're going to a movie that night. My two daughters were with multiple friends at the hockey game the night before, and we came home and had some laughs and had a snack. Went to bed, got up, had haircuts. I went out for a couple hours, came home at about 2:30 in the afternoon. I don't understand how that can happen. I will never understand. And I'm heartbroken to know that my child was in that much pain and was not able to share that with anybody.
Her daughter's death sparked a movement. But as a mother, there's little comfort in that.
I would like my daughter back. I'd like to have that conversation with her. I would like to help her and tell her it could be okay and there's help when you feel like that. I am grateful that other people have that opportunity.
At the cottage, Hannah Brunsden and her family find peace in their new openness.
So, Mom, were you ever really worried about me?
Oh, absolutely.
Terrified?
Yeah. There was a very, very dark time in November.
I was terrified of coming home one day because I'm getting even worse news. I was really scared of that. And I was scared because it seemed like you were shutting me out. And I didn't know why, and I couldn't understand. I kept on thinking back and wondering what I had done. And that scared me for a long time.
The other thing, too, is we had no idea what we were dealing with.
Yeah, because there's not that much information about it, really.
Well, it's taboo. You don't talk about it, or nobody seems to talk about it until you dig into it.
Are there moments now at this point where you get scared of something?
Getting sick again. I am absolutely terrified of going back to last year. But now I'm getting tired again, and this morning I was like, I'm so tired. And it's like, not again. I don't want to go through that again. I can't.
Slipping back, too far back, is a constant fear. But what's different now, says Brunsden, her illness has a voice that keeps reminding her that she's not alone. Ioanna Roumeliotis, CBC News, Ottawa.